I'm Julie Hoplamazian, an Episcopal priest currently serving at St. Michael's Church in New York City. I'm also the founder of Faith on Point, a ministry that exists at the intersection of ballet and theology, where I teach ballet as a spiritual practice. Can you talk for a few minutes? These were the words I'd been dreading as I awaited my doctor's phone call with my biopsy results. Before she even said anything else, I knew the news wasn't going to be good. No one gets good medical news that begins with, "Are you able to talk for a few minutes?" Hearing that I had cancer was a gut punch, to say the least. Even though I knew dozens and dozens of people who were cancer survivors, I also knew a lot of people who died from it. And I was scared that this was the end of my life. It didn't feel fair. I had just gotten through a traumatic divorce and was only starting to get back on my feet. How was I going to do this alone? It would be disingenuous to say that I experienced God in my darkest hour. The truth is, in those early days following my diagnosis, I had many dark nights of the soul. God felt incredibly distant. My days suddenly filled with doctor's appointments, tests, and procedures, each one scarier than the next. At one point, I had to go in for a second biopsy after further tests showed another suspicious mass. Thankfully, it turned out to be nothing, but I was so scared that this was just the beginning of a long, drawn-out, premature death. After about 5 weeks of testing for answers and consulting for treatment options, a plan of action was finally put in place. I would take medical leave from work while I would go through surgery, chemo, radiation, immunotherapy. The congregation barely got 2 weeks' notice. I tried to put on a brave face and say that I knew God was with me, but the truth was, I was just reciting lines. I couldn't pray. I could only Google triple-positive breast cancer over and over and over and over again. On my last Sunday before medical leave, the congregation gathered around me for prayer and a laying on of hands. I had held it together until then. But the only other time I had felt the weight of all those hands on me was at my priestly ordination. And I just lost it. Because what I felt was the weight of their prayers I wasn't able to utter myself. I felt their faith. I felt their trust in God at a time mine was faltering. I don't know if I was any less scared after that, but I was buoyed. I went into cancer treatment still fearful, but also strengthened by their support and their faith. And that's the thing about fear. It feels like an insurmountable Goliath when you feel like you're all alone, like it could easily swallow you up. In a season where we are awaiting the light of the world to shine in these dark times, my diagnosis has shown me the power in being that light for other people. Not to lessen someone's fear, but to loosen the grip that fear has on them. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it.
This has been a production of Trinity Episcopal Cathedral in Portland, Oregon. Music for this podcast was performed by James Walton. For more information about Trinity and our community, go to www.trinity-episcopal.org.